Hello and welcome to Potterwatch, a new Harry Potter show and podcast talking all about the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Whether it's books, movies, plays, theme parks, whatever it is, I'm talking about it on this show. Hello, and my name is Josiah, and if this is your first time here, my channel is all about movies, and this is a new show I'm trying out. It's going to be a little bit more relaxed, and I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so I thought I'd just gather up some news and talk about it. This may be a monthly show. We'll see kind of where it is and if you guys like it. So let's dive right into some of these news topics today. Today we're going to be talking about Fantastic Beasts 3. The filming was actually delayed, so we'll get into that a little bit. There are new photos for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the new roller coaster that's supposed to be coming. There's a new studio attraction in London for the Harry Potter studio tour, and then we're going to talk a little bit about wizards relieving themselves and if J.K. Rowling needs to stop all this extra unnecessary Pottermore things. And I have my opinion on that, but let's get into it today. So the first topic that I want to talk about is that Fantastic Beasts 3 was delayed, the filming of that. So this is a little bit of an interesting topic because Fantastic Beasts 2 did okay at the box office right now. It's doing really well overseas, actually, but domestically, there seems to be a little bit of a loss of interest, whether it's a loss in interest in Harry Potter or just the Fantastic Beasts franchise as a whole. So this news story came out, and the crew said, it boils down to more prep time for Part 3. The Fantastic Beasts production team literally delivered the last movie, The Crimes of Grindelwald, which made close to $650 million at the worldwide box office, and more pre-production time is needed for the threequel. Literally, Fantastic Beasts 3 would need to be in soft prep by now to roll cameras in the summer. Actors being alerted about the push in production in order to change their work schedule. So actors are being alerted about this, but essentially the crew, this was reported by Deadline, is, what's actually happening to the movie. I don't think it could be a little bit of a restructuring, maybe taking Rowling's script and changing things around. I mean, look, you take the first Fantastic Beasts movie, which I honestly was not a big fan of. It was okay. The beasts were a bit much for me, a little bit too childish compared to the old Harry Potter movies. And I understand that these movies are, for kids, and that's totally cool. But how they're set up, they're for kids, but they can also be for adults. And Fantastic Beasts, the first one, didn't really do that too much. Now, Crimes of Grindelwald, that's a different story. I really love that movie. Even though there seems to be a bit of a divide in the Harry Potter community, I've seen on Reddit with some people just not loving that movie. So is the delay, should we be worried? No, I really don't think we should be worried. Rowling and her team know where things are going now. I don't think they really knew where things were going in the first Fantastic Beasts that much. Now, there's a set game plan. They just need a couple extra months to prep. I really don't think it's a big deal. So, that's where we stand on that. And let's now get into the next topic, which is about Fantastic Beasts is now going to air on TV for the first time. So this is, the first time that Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is on TV, and it's going to be airing February 1st through 3rd, and then it'll continue to air after that at random intervals. But there's a Harry Potter weekend, and that's where this movie's appearing first, which is a great time for it to air on television. I actually don't own the DVD, so I may tune in a bit. It's something I may buy later as a box set when all 5 movies come out. And this movie is NBC Universal Networks, USA, and Sci-Fi. They actually hold the exclusive airing rights. So you may have noticed that from the old Harry Potter weekends on Freeform or ABC Family, which was what it was back in the day, it's kind of been a crazy mess with all of that recently. HBO had the airing rights for a few months, maybe even up to a year, where all the Harry Potter movies were on HBO. They let those rights go, and now they're owned by Sci-Fi and NBC Universal. So They have the rights now until 2025. It's really a new era of Harry Potter, and I wonder, I used to sit down and watch it's a Harry Potter weekend, which seemed to be almost every weekend on ABC Family. But now I wonder if there are going to be young kids that grew up with Harry Potter weekend on Sci-Fi. It's just to me, it doesn't have the same ring to it. Will you guys be tuning in to watch it, or are you perfectly satisfied just watching the DVD? Let me know what you think about this and if it even excites you at all. So let's move on to the next topic, which is still, Fantastic Beasts news in the Crimes of Grindelwald. So the Crimes of Grindelwald will now be available for pre-order on Amazon. And I actually included direct links in the description below so you can pre-order this movie. So, if you're interested, make sure that you can click it so it goes directly to that for you to pre-order. So on this, before you pre-order, though, you may want to know what's actually on it. So on it, there are extras. J.K. Rowling, a world revealed. I guess that's a little bit of a documentary. Wizards on screen, fans in real life, which that's always kind of fun to see. What the fans do in real life and how this has impacted their life. There's going to be a featurette called Distinctly Dumbledore. That I'm really interested in, to see young Dumbledore and how he compares to the older Dumbledore that we know and love in the Harry Potter series, and how the Fantastic Beasts crew and Rowling decided to go into that and go about that, and why they felt Dumbledore was important and necessary for this story. Of course, he's tied directly to Grindelwald, but I think that would be really a neat featurette to see. Also, there's going to be unlocking scene secrets, the return to Hogwarts, Nagini, Grindelwald's escape, and deleted scenes. So, what deleted scenes could there be? What the deleted scenes that I would like to see more of would be Grindelwald. Whatever your thoughts are on Johnny Depp as Grindelwald, some people like him, some people don't. I actually liked him in this role, especially compared to his other roles. Captain Jack Sparrow, love him as Captain Jack, but his other roles are just way too zany and crazy for me, so I'm not a huge fan of them. But as Grindelwald, I think he played the character pretty well and did Grindelwald justice, but I'd like to see a deleted scene on that. And another thing that's kind of interesting is that you'll see that where these movies are released, the DVDs, you'll get different features depending on where you buy it. Kind of annoying because you don't want to buy 5 different DVDs just to see these scenes. I would wait on a couple of those because they're probably going to be released on to YouTube or somewhere online to see, so I wouldn't buy 2 or 3 copies. However, let me just give you a rundown. So the 4K movie will include 7 minutes of extra scenes. So they're calling this the extended cut, similar to what DC did with the Justice League and Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman, how they released an extended cut. Now theirs were a lot more scenes. It was like 30 minutes of deleted scenes and the extended cut of Batman vs. Superman. But in Fantastic Beasts, there are 7 minutes of extended scenes. This could relate to maybe Lita Lestrange and Theseus at the ball. This was announced on Twitter, and there's a little video of that. So it could be them at some wizarding ball, or maybe diving more into the Dumbledore investigation. Of course, Dumbledore gets investigated in the Harry Potter franchise in Order of the Phoenix and Chamber of Secrets. He's always getting investigated. So, this may have been one of his first investigations. Could we see a little bit more into that and him dealing with the Ministry of Magic and the current Minister of Magic at that? And then another way to buy this movie is at Barnes & Noble, where there will be additional scenes of Nicholas Flamel. So this would be kind of cool to see because of how Flamel was introduced in Crimes of Grindelwald. I liked that he was in there, and it didn't seem like Rowling and the cast and the storytellers were watering down the story. I actually felt like it kind of enhanced it, and that's where I think a lot of the problem lies in some of this extended Harry Potter material, is that the creators, mostly Rowling, is just throwing stuff out there and trying to connect everything back to Harry's story. No, let's actually see some of these other side characters like a Flamel, and even how Nagini was done, which I was nervous about, but I thought it was done well. And let's get some more of their backstory. Flamel is like, what, 600 years old or 300 years old or something in this? That's pretty insane. So I'm sure he's lived through a lot, especially with Dumbledore. So what could those deleted scenes be? I don't know. But that's all for the movie with Crimes of Grindelwald DVD. Again, I have a direct link below for you to pre-order, and that's right on Amazon. So that'll do it for the movie section of the Potterwatch podcast, and let's move on over to everything else going on in the world of Harry Potter, the Wizarding World, books, theme parks, video games, plays, everything. But first, let me give you a trivia question. The trivia question of the week is, what flavor of Bertie Bott's Every Flavor beans did Dumbledore eat when he visited Harry in the hospital wing in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone? So again, what flavor of Bertie Bott's Every Flavor bean did Dumbledore eat when he visited Harry in the hospital wing in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone? Comment below and let me know if you know that. We'll get to that answer just after this section. So let's get to the first topic, and that is the Harry Potter Studio Tour expansion at Gringotts. So Warner Brothers released its biggest secret yet in their Studio Tour expansion, and they revealed that Gringotts is the next section that they're adding, the next set that's going to be in London. They said, "Key please," and that was kind of in the statement. So this will be revealed on the 6th of April of 2019, and visitors are invited to see the Wizarding World of Gringotts, the Lestrange Vault, a gallery of goblins, and so much more. It will be decorated with marble pillars, 3 crystal chandeliers, inkwells, quills, ledgers, and piles of galleons, sickles, and nuts. It's interesting because they actually released something that said the prop making department created over 210,000 coins for the final 2 films alone. Of course, that was in Bellatrix's vault, but that's a lot of coins. The current sets right now that are at the studio tour in Leavesden is Forbidden Forest, Platform 9 3/4, Diagon Alley, and the Great Hall. So I actually have not been to the studio tour. It's something that I would love to go to visit whenever I actually get overseas and go to London, because I think that there's just so much detail that this prop making department and that these movies put into. They just put so much attention to detail in these movies, and I love that. I see that. I visited the Wizarding World of Harry Potter quite a few times, and the attention to detail in those parks alone is phenomenal. I mean, I visited 4 times now, and every time I go there, I see something new in Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade. There's signs up with text in it that you may have never even seen before, and it kind of expands the story as what's going on. The most recent thing at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter that they added was a new store for traveling worldwide, and of course they're doing that to connect Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts and all the Ministries of Magic. But it's kind of cool to see where they'll send you in this travel department, all the signs up there. So going back to the studio tour, the attention to detail on that has to be even greater, because they're using the actual prop makers who have made these props to put everything together. So this is something I would love to see, but I don't have a chance to see yet. Have you guys been to the studio tour, and does this excite you? It really excites me. And speaking of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, there are new images that came out for the coaster that is going to be in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is going to replace the dueling dragons. So there are new aerial images that have emerged. Some people are speculating a bit about the ride based on the overhead shots. There are shots of possibly Hagrid's hut, which was already in Hogsmeade as it was. There's a lot of green and shrubs growing on the buildings. So what could this be? I'll give you my predictions as to what this coaster could be. I think one, if that is Hagrid's hut and it's connecting there, this could be a Forbidden Forest ride. It's already been predicted that this is a Hagrid's motorcycle ride, so it's possible that we could jump in Hagrid's motorcycle, ride through the forest with him, or I should say Sirius's motorcycle, right? It's not actually Hagrid's. He's just holding it for him. But maybe we're going through the forest to see a bunch of beasts or help him catch a dragon or something like that on an adventure with Hagrid. And speaking of beasts, it could also be connected to Fantastic Beasts ride. And maybe we're going through, whether it's the forest or something else, maybe we're with Newt and we get to see all the different Fantastic Beasts that he's collected in his suitcase. That would be kind of neat. We get to dive into Newt's suitcase. I could already see going through the line and we see all these different animatronic animals, but similar to what, like a safari type ride could be. Maybe it is the Forbidden Forest, maybe it's somewhere else, but those are my ideas. Are there any ideas that you have that you think are, think that this could be? I really can't wait to go back there to see what it is, but this will be revealed later this year. The next topic is that the Lego Hogwarts Castle received an award in the United Kingdom. So this is, if you haven't seen this castle yet, it is magnificent. 6,000 Lego pieces in this Hogwarts Castle replica. So, coming straight from Brick Fanatics, at the UK Toy Industry Awards, which were held at London Toy Fair 2019, Lego Harry Potter won the Licensed Product of the Year award for their product, the Hogwarts Castle. The castle set includes over 6,000 pieces, the Great Hall, Hagrid's hut, and the Whomping Willow. There are also 27 microfigures, plus an additional 4 minifigures of the Hogwarts founders. The castle measures 22 inches high, 27 inches wide, and 16 inches deep. So let me just say that this castle is absolutely glorious. I linked to it in the description, so you can go check it out. Maybe if you want to buy it. It is a bit expensive. I think it's around $300 or $400, but I linked to it below directly for you to check it out on Amazon. And this, I grew up with all the Harry Potter Legos that came out back when the Legos used to be yellow instead of actual skin color, which some of them still are, but I think that this castle, I would love to have built this castle as a kid. The challenge that would go into that, it just looks beautiful. The one thing that I'm not a big fan of, though, and I don't know, I don't keep up that much on Lego news, but maybe this is something new that they've been doing, but are the micro figures. Don't really love the look of those, and they don't seem like they're very flexible, and you can kind of see that in the photo on Amazon. But there are these micro figures that they're like a regular Lego figures, let's say this big. The micro figure is about this big. There's not that much detail in it, and it just seems kind of wasted. I'd rather have the minifigures. Like now, it is cool that the minifigures are the Hogwarts founders, but this is great for the Hogwarts Castle and Lego that they won this, and it's a well-deserved award. So, the next topic is that there are new book covers for Prisoner of Azkaban and the Goblet of Fire. So Prisoner of Azkaban turns 20, and Bloomsbury is releasing the 20th anniversary covers with new illustrations by Levi Pinfold of Sirius Black's Animagus as a crest, James Potter's Animagus, Harry casting a Patronus, and these books are pretty neat because they come out, this book I should say, it comes out in a set. There's 4 of them, and all the different Hogwarts house colors. So this book, I mean, it's crazy to believe that Prisoner of Azkaban is turning 20 years old, the book. I feel like I just read that yesterday. And I have not been collecting these different book covers that they've been releasing. I think it's great for, if you are a collector of these books, or if you want to, maybe it's your first time reading the series. These are awesome covers to get. They're pretty neat. The Gryffindor one is probably the one I would get. It's probably the most sold one, but they've already done this with Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, and they'll probably continue doing that. And I think they're pretty cool to look at. And then the other cover that's released is actually Bloomsbury announced the release date for a long-awaited Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire illustrated edition for October 8th, 2019. So I guess it's in a new cover, I should say, but it's more of a release date. And these books, they've been illustrated by Jim Kay, of course. He's done the first 3 books in the Harry Potter series, and it's now available for pre-order. Now, this is interesting because I have checked these books out, and they're beautiful. They're different illustrations than the original books, which, there's an illustration for each chapter, and the covers, it's a different style, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with an artist's interpretation, Jim Kay's interpretation of what happens in the Harry Potter series. Now, the last book was released, Prisoner of Azkaban was released in October of 2017, the illustrated edition. So it's going to be about 2 years before this book is finally released. And that's understandable because I think it's about a 300-page difference. The first 3 books he just cranked out about 1 a year. He did Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, back to back to back. And now we're in a little bit of a waiting game. Maybe he was having some block, or maybe he just needed time to get the thing done. Completely understandable, Jim Kay. Keep up the great work. They're absolutely beautiful. Again, I have a link down below for you to check out these books. They're gorgeous. And especially if you have kids, I'll say if you have kids too, who it's their first time reading the series, I will be reading my kids this book whenever I have kids, because they're just that good looking and fun for the imagination. And moving away from books, let's go into video games. So the next topic is about Hogwarts Mystery, which is the mobile video game, Harry Potter mobile video game. They released Year 5, Chapters 11 and 12. So the update includes the ability to adopt new magical creatures like a Thestral or Welsh Green Dragon, and you can actually now yield the Marauders map if you can find it. So players will also meet Aberforth Dumbledore and Sir Cadogan the Knight. And look, I have not been playing this game. I did play it. I checked it out. I was super excited for it. And whenever it first came out, a Harry Potter video game, it takes me back to the old days whenever they used to release the year-by-year video games. But this video game, this mobile game, I played it for a couple weeks, maybe a month, got pretty addicted to it, where I had to keep checking back, and I had to delete it because it was taking up too much of my time. I was also trying to find ways to, cheat around things. Didn't work out. But I did have a lot of fun playing it. So this new chapters sounds like it could be a lot of fun. I like how it's expanding the story a bit. It is getting a little bit too close to Harry's story, which I don't love that. I don't love whenever these new stories have to tie directly to Harry Potter. And this story takes place about 30 years before, I believe. But the main character is meeting all these people that are in Harry's life. Nymphadora Tonks, Aberforth Dumbledore, Albus Dumbledore, McGonagall. Understandable because they are professors. But there doesn't have to be such a direct connection. Let them be the professors. Let this character live on his or her own and tell that story. And it's doing that to an extent, but I think it could do that a little bit better. But that's just my opinion on the video games. And on to the last topic in this section. You've probably heard of this already. And I don't know what exactly to say about it. It's wizards used to crap themselves at Hogwarts. That was what Pottermore and J.K. Rowling released on National Trivia Day earlier this month. According to the tweet from Pottermore, they said Hogwarts didn't always have bathrooms. So before adopting Muggle plumbing methods in the 18th century, wizards and witches simply relieved themselves wherever they stood and vanished the evidence. What? I mean, this came across my timeline on Twitter, and I didn't even know, like, what? Why is this even... There's so many other trivia facts that you could have come up with, J.K. Rowling. Why are we talking about wizards relieving themselves at Hogwarts? That's not something I wanted to know. It's not something I needed to know. And I guess it's nice that they vanished the evidence, but what happens whenever you had a wipe? Were they using a spell for that? Can you vanish evidence, or is that getting too close to certain areas where you maybe can't do magic? I don't know. Like this is making me ask questions that I don't want to know. Well, I don't know why J.K. Rowling's getting into this, but that kind of leads me into my next discussion point, which is, has Pottermore gone too far? And the internet seems to think yes, because there's a new meme going around right now on Twitter and Reddit talking about J.K. Rowling going too far. And so this is making fun of the overenthusiastic Pottermore, and it's pretty much saying, you know, I'm just sitting here minding my own business, and then J.K. Rowling just throws out this random fact. So let me go through a couple of these that I saw that were absolutely hilarious. So here are some funny ones, just to give you an idea. So a waiter says, you're sitting in a restaurant. Waiter goes, anything to drink? J.K. Rowling, the Sorting Hat can F but chooses not to. Like that, I don't want to know about the Sorting Hat, his sexual life, but J.K. Rowling apparently thinks you need to know. J.K. Rowling. Ron spent all 7 years at Hogwarts fantasizing about a loyal, unique, imaginary best friend named Harry Potter as a way to cope with an unbearably plain life as a regular kid who wasn't super good or bad at school, who wasn't popular but wasn't an outcast either. So, you know, just another funny one. And let me do a couple more. So, no one. J.K. Rowling. Maybe Harry did screw Hermione. No one. J.K. Rowling. Hagrid F the spiders. I could see it coming. Me. J.K. Rowling. The Whomping Willow is gay. Like, and that plays into the factor that why does it matter what the sexual orientation of a lot of these characters are? And the Whomping Willow is a freaking tree. Is the Whomping Willow gay? Is it gay, J.K. Rowling? Does it matter? I don't think it matters, because a lot of these facts are just completely useless. Let's further this story. Let's further the Harry Potter story, the Fantastic Beasts story, and go into more lore. I wanted to see more about the wizarding world, the magic world. Let's go back to a time whenever magic was first about, the first wizards, maybe kind of like a Knights of the Old Republic time era from Star Wars. I actually did a video, you can check it out, I'll link to it, where I talk about the Harry Potter series that could be on Netflix, Hulu, HBO, and I think I came up with a lot of cool ideas, but ideas that J.K. Rowling isn't going to... I don't know if she'll do them, because I don't know if she actually wants to expand the world of Harry Potter, or if she can relinquish creative control. But, you know, it's a useless fact, a lot of these, and I don't know. But speaking of trivia, let's go back to my trivia question, which I said, what was the first Bertie Bott's every flavored bean that J.K. Rowling, that Dumbledore ate whenever he visited Harry Potter and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone? And that flavor is Alas, earwax. Earwax was the flavor. Did you guys get it right? It was a bit of an easy one, but if you haven't seen the movie in a while, maybe you forgot. And let's go into one more thing of the day, and that is the theory of the month. And my theory is that Credence from Fantastic Beasts is not actually a Dumbledore. So, if you saw Crimes of Grindelwald, sorry, I should have said spoiler first. If you saw Crimes of Grindelwald, you may know that Credence, this kind of random character, he was in Where to Find Them, now he's in Crimes of Grindelwald, he was revealed to be a Dumbledore at the end of the movie by Grindelwald. Excuse me. So, this was revealed by Grindelwald whenever he said he wants him to go after somebody that, he can't beat himself and he needs him to do it. And that's because it's his brother and he's very powerful. And it kind of went into phoenixes and how, and Dumbledore foreshadowed this a little bit earlier in the movie without me knowing about it or anybody knowing about it, when he said that a phoenix will always come to a Dumbledore in a time of need. And whenever Credence was pissed off, blew up a house, there was a little bird chirping right there. Well, that turned out to be a phoenix. And at the end of the movie, we saw Credence with the phoenix, and everything was revealed that he got a wand and he is a Dumbledore. And I don't buy it. I'm not buying that he's a Dumbledore. Let's think about this for a second. So we know the Dumbledores that do exist. Albus Dumbledore, Aberforth Dumbledore, Ariana Dumbledore, and Credence is supposed to be Aerialis Dumbledore. No. I mean, it makes sense that he has the A name. I mean, that's one thing. He has the A name. He has the Phoenix. He seems powerful. But is he really Dumbledore? He was part of this. He got switched up as a child with these things, which was in the movie. But I think Grindelwald's lying. I don't think that Grindelwald actually cares about Credence. I think he's just trying to find a way where he can hone his magic a bit to blow up Dumbledore, which we know doesn't work. But let's think about this. How did nobody else know that there was another Dumbledore? In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Rita Skeeter releases the book Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore. She dug into every little thing about Albus Dumbledore's life, and she didn't know that there was another brother. And now you may say, yeah, but J.K. Rowling just didn't want to release that part. Well, Harry would have said something like he didn't know that he had any siblings up until that point, and now Dumbledore Albus has just another brother. Is this just going to be the big thing in Harry Potter now, where Albus, there's just a new Dumbledore appearing every couple of movies? No. Grindelwald is lying. He's trying to get Credence to do something by contorting his emotions. Credence isn't a Dumbledore. Do you agree with me or not? That's just my thoughts, and that is the theory of the month. So, anyways, everybody, that is the first Potterwatch, and this is a new show that I wanted to try out on my own and see if you guys like it. I think there's a little bit of a lack of Harry Potter news, but like news outlets, but there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Harry Potter and everything going on in the world. I think that Harry Potter, if done right, can be the next Star Wars as far as expansions go. Star Wars does it amazingly with the comic books, movies, TV shows. It ties everything together and it relates back to the original trilogy, but it expands it. And, we can get into that argument at another time, whether it's expanding or not, but I think it's doing its job well. And I think that Harry Potter can do that if J.K. Rowling continues and relinquishes creative control. So I think that there is a lot to talk about in the world of Harry Potter. And please let me know if you enjoyed watching this episode of Potterwatch, and if you would like more Harry Potter news every single month. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.